Good morning, guys. This is my first time in Poland, my first time in Krakow. It's been great to be here, so thanks for having me. The original title of my talk was, I think it was something, I made it up, I think on Wednesday. I think it was connecting corporates and startups from skunkworks to accelerators. But having talked to a lot of folks here and just thinking about kind of what sort of people here and what the differences are that I see between sort of what we're thinking about over at RGA and here, I came up with another talk, a lot of the same content, but a slightly different angle. And the title is Building a Brand, Not Just a Product. So our kind of thesis is that the brand and the product and the service are sort of all the same things. So I'll talk very briefly about the background of RGA, because I also noticed that folks here don't know RGA, which is great. In the States, we're fairly well known because we work with a lot of brands that you guys will have heard of. So I'll talk very briefly about who we are, and I'll talk about a couple of projects that we're working on, from sort of big brands to kind of emerging sort of mid-stage startups, and then what we're doing actually in the early stage startup space. I don't know if I introduced myself as well. My name is Nick Coronges, and I'm a VP over at RGA and also a technology partner for our RGA Ventures arm. So RGA is, we started back in 1977. We actually used to be a computer-aided film production company. We did special effects for movies like Alien and Superman. Our claim to fame back then, this is about 30 years ago, this is the RGA Oxbury CompuQuad special effects printer. This actually won us an Academy Award in 1987. So a very early kind of like hardware and sort of hardware in the service of the arts project that we did. Later on, we sort of pivoted into interactive and digital, and we did a lot of work for on a lot of web work, back-end, e-com, and more recently, of course, mobile, social, Android, iOS stuff. So we're pretty big at this point. We've got 9 offices 13 offices, and we've actually got an office in London and Stockholm and Bucharest, which is not too far away. We're about 1,500 people, like 200 software engineers, 300 designers, user experience designers, visual designers. So. We've racked up a pretty like wide array of awards in the kind of advertising industry. We get to actually launch great products and then get awarded for them in the advertising. We've won like the Cannes Lions. I don't know if you guys know the advertising kind of industry, but we've pretty much won all the awards over the last few years with Nike and Beats by Dre and some other clients. So our clients. So we work quite a bit with Google, Samsung, and Nike. I think Samsung and Nike are our biggest clients, so they sort of pay the bills. And we also work with emerging brands, one that you guys probably now have heard of, but maybe didn't a year ago, Beats by Dre and MakerBot. And they're both big clients of ours, and in a way, I mean, a few years ago, they were startups, and now they've obviously crossed the sort of the valley of death, as Keith calls it. And then more recently, in the last year, we launched a ventures arm and an accelerator, and we started working with earlier stage companies. We largely created the ventures arm to allow us to structure our services in a way that we could work with earlier stage companies, and also, I mean, to potentially get the upside benefit of working with a company like Beats by Dre and creating a ton of value and being compensated, in a different way than just sort of pure time and materials. So I'm going to walk through one project that is sort of very near and dear to me, and something that I worked on over the years. I joined RGA around 2004, And one of the big projects that I had the opportunity to work with was the partnership between Nike and Apple. And in 2006, Apple and Nike had basically signed a partnership deal where Apple would create this, which is actually, just a quick question, like, do people here know about Nike Plus? Because sometimes I don't want to talk about Nike Plus because we sort of talk about Nike Plus constantly. Show of hands really quickly, heard of Nike Plus? All right, cool. The other thing I noticed is that in Poland, there's not that, the running scene is not, like if you're like in cities in the States, like if you were out by the river, like you'd see tons of people running. I noticed that not that many people run here, so I wasn't sure if people were as aware of Nike Plus. Yeah, all right, well, we'll talk more about that. So this is a really exciting project to me because I was kind of I love computers and I love software engineering, but I hate the fact that it means that you're always sitting in front of a computer and typing and that you're not out in the real world doing stuff. And Nike Plus in a way is this kind of bridge between like the real world and the digital world in a way to actually make it sort of reinforce each other. Nike and Apple came to us, and they had signed this deal together, and they came to us to create this service that would kind of glue this sensor and the data that came off this sensor with iTunes and the web at the time, right? And Nike was sort of like, you guys provide the kind of sport authenticity and the sport experience, we'll provide the hardware and the music, right? Because at the time, this is 2006, this was nano. Like, there was no iPhone. It was basically, everything was all about Nano and iTunes. iPod Nano and iTunes. So for Nike, what this was about was they were dominant as a running category in the 80s, and then in the 90s, all these other brands came along like Saucony and New Balance and Asics, and so they had plateaued from a running category standpoint. So for them, it was all about like, how do we kind of re-inject kind of authenticity and do something completely innovative for our category. So we created Nike Plus, which again, I won't talk too much about what it is because you guys may know about it already, but we kind of, RGA, our role was really, we kind of connected with the iTunes engineers and we provided the APIs and the web services to allow iTunes to send the data over to our kind of back end, and then we created this website, right? So we created this kind of, what I think of as this sort of, the software and the service and the web experience actually was the product. In other words, you bought into the Nike Plus product not just because of the hardware, obviously, but because of the experience and the sort of service layer on top of it. So that was very successful initially. In 2007, we launched like a sport watch that went along with it. We kind of created this whole social ecosystem around it. We launched this thing called the Human Race, which was like a giant virtual race that everybody ran on the same day. A couple years later, of course, Apple launched the iPhone. And then it was like, well, it doesn't make sense to have a pedometer in your shoe anymore. All this technology lives inside the phone. And so we built the Nike Plus running iOS app for the iOS platform, and we also did the same for Android. So it was a huge success for us. It was a huge success for Nike. I don't know if these stats are up to date, but 30 million users, 1 trillion miles run to date. This is probably a little bit old. 160 countries. And the big thing for Nike is that this is an engagement that's like, it's an engagement that it isn't just that they get this 3 times per week engagement. It's what kind of engagement it is, because it's something that people love, right? It's something that makes them feel like they're better because they're getting more fit and they're actually outdoors. It's not like they're just reaching these users because they've sort of just advertised with them or push notification to them, or are sending sort of viscerally interesting but not very healthy kinds of engagement, right? So for Nike, it was a really big success. There's a couple of quotes from, this is the CMO of Nike. He said, "We're not in the business of keeping the media companies alive. We're in the business of connecting with consumers. People are coming into Nike Plus on average 3 times a week, so we don't have to go to them." So there was a huge business uptick for Nike. They basically recaptured the running category, and other competitors like Saucony and New Balance and Asics pretty much shrunk during the same period. So it's a huge deal for us, huge deal for Nike. So another story, I won't talk too much about this, but because you guys kind of know about it probably already, a couple years after that, they were like, well, okay, this is great. This really worked well for running. How do we expand the same kind of motivation mechanic more broadly to all sports and to all kinds of athletes, not just runners? So they have this. This is kind of how we frame the brand and the product and the service from the beginning, is bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And Nike has this saying, which is, if you have a body, you're an athlete. Right? And so the question is, what is the product, what is the technology, what is the service to create to deliver on this promise? So we created the Fuel Band.
To inspire anyone to be more active. Its foundation is a universal system of measurement called Fuel. Unlike calories, Fuel lets you compare yourself with anyone, no matter what their body type is or what they're doing. The Fuel Band is the device you wear that tracks everything you do. One button lets you check your stats. LED lights change from red to yellow and then to green when you hit your goal. Motivation is the core of the experience. To make sure Fuel is something people want to use and share every day, competition and celebration are built in. As we experimented with the algorithm behind Fuel and the design of the experience, our work gave us an insight we felt summed up the Fuel Band story. Everything you do counts.
Can you count, suckers?
At launch, this became the campaign that introduced Fuel to the world. From the moment they put it on in the morning, users are constantly interacting with the Fuel Band and the service that drives it. They are sharing more, talking about the brand more, and spending more on Nike products. Fuel has fundamentally changed Nike's business as well. From a marketer of athletic shoes to a company whose products and services work together in a system of value for consumers, and whose mission has become an obsession with using technology to make every athlete better. This is the Nike Plus Fuel Band.
This is fun because since I don't have the presenter notes, I actually don't know what slide comes up next, so it's an adventure. Cool. So Fuel Band, you guys know the story of Fuel Band. There's a whole lot of kind of polemic around Fuel Band right now, and I'm not sure if you guys follow it or not. And this sort of talk about how Nike has sort of abandoned Fuel Band as a hardware platform. And the thing is, they also abandoned the sensor in the shoe. I think for Nike, it's really not. It's not about the hardware. They don't really care what the actual kind of what the medium is to connect with customers. It's sort of they're going to go wherever their customers are. In this particular case, I don't know if you guys have seen or downloaded or installed iOS 8, but the win for them is, I mean, you probably know Nike and Apple are very close, and Tim Cook's on the board at Nike. But this is amazing. This even shocked me that they pulled this off. So in HealthKit, which was announced last Monday, they've actually, if you notice on this second middle screen, Nike Fuel is now like a first-class health metric, along with basal calories, steps, calories, distance, lean body mass. So pretty amazing. It might actually be, and I don't really believe the hype around Nike Fuel. Probably you guys either haven't thought about it or don't believe it either. But it might be that in 10 years, we actually do accept Nike Fuel as a legitimate metric because of what they've actually managed to do with Apple. So at the same time, it's always a big challenge working with Nike because they're such a big company, and it's for us. We kind of work as a we help them move more quickly because we have all of the kind of disciplines within the agency. So there's a few things that that I think of when I think of Nike Plus and FuelBand. In 2006, it was the first integrated hardware product, software service, and brand. It was the first successful consumer Internet of Things product, I think. It helped create the quantified self movement, and it helped establish the wearables category. Now, those all are, it's very seminal kind of product, and helped create a lot of the kind of the market that we see today. But it also, created a lot of crap. And like, I don't know, have you guys ever seen whatthefuckismywearablestrategy.com? I recommend it. This is a website that you go to, and basically you can just reload the page, and it'll just present you with a different crappy wearables idea. And it's always important to remember, like what are we building, and whether it's actually important. This one is time to quit your fucking job. I just made a fucking pair of shoes that pulsates when you burn 100 calories. I'll give you 10 million for 30%. This one, I did these this morning. I just had fun, just like reloading the page. I just hacked a prototype of a fucking sports bra that posts to medium when you've got a hangover. Might be more appropriate today. And it's important, like when you're building technology and when you're a technology-driven organization, to think about what is the product you're building really about, right? And that's what we mean when we think about brand, right? It's like what is it really about? Why does it matter? And so when I think of Nike Plus, the reason why I think it matters is it motivates you to do more. It's this idea of making it count. So like when I actually do get off my ass and go running, I want credit for it, right? That's the whole point. Like the tracking thing is not because I care about data. I don't really care how many steps I took. I don't really care, what my pace curve looked like. What I care about is I want to get credit. If I'm going to put in the work, I want a signature that marks this moment in time, and it's validating. So, and it gives you real tools to make you a better athlete. It extends the running community beyond physical location. So this idea that you could be in Poland, I could be in New York, and we can actually race together or run against each other or compete with each other. And you can explore places through running. This is something that I love about the reason why I love running and the whole Nike Plus thing is because of the maps. So yesterday at lunch, I actually went and did a run around Krakow, and so this is my map. And I actually tried to make a B to make for a Bitspiration thing, but that I just ran around the castle. It was awesome. I didn't really. It looks like a B though, or K maybe. So this is and this is the thing, is like this is what we think about when we think about brand. It's like is it something you believe in, right? It has to create like an actual emotional resonance for you. It has to have some kind of soul, right? So, Bitspiration. So the other project, I'm not allowed to talk about that much right now, but I'll show you. I'm going to show you a little bit. I'm going to show you another video, and it's really awesome. So this is a company that we work with, and we have been working with over the last couple of years. There's really two companies, Beats by Dre and Beats Music. Again, it's another example of a great hardware kind of product and service. I think we've all kind of come to this realization that like hardware is hot right now, and there's this renaissance in hardware, but it's not about the hardware. It's not about the gadgets. It's about, can you create a service that resonates, right? And so I think we were able to do that.
What if you had the perfect music for every moment? Kisses would be deeper, drives faster, inspiration would flow, and life would be infused with magic. And to do that, you'll need more inside your skull than a circuit board, because code can't hear the Bowie in a band's influences. It doesn't know why the Stones segue perfectly into Aretha Franklin. You'd want brains and souls. Created an elegant, fun solution that integrates the best technology with friendly, trustworthy humanity. that understands music as emotion and joy, culture, and life. Music is much more than just digital files. It breathes and bleeds and feels. The only thing as important as the song you're hearing now is the song that comes next.
Now, don't know who you are, but girl, I wanna know if you can move like
This is a completely new way to experience music, and the next step in the evolution that's taken us from 45s to CDs to streaming. But the most important thing about it is that you'll be blown away by what happens when you hit play. The right music, like magic.
So, yeah. And that kind of captures, like, I don't know, it's a perfect example of where, like, actually the whole strategy behind Beats and their strategy with Spotify, I mean, you can kind of see what the way they approached it was they're going to bring a human and emotional angle, and obviously a tech only. We'll see what happens. Well, we saw what happened actually. So Beats is now part of Apple. I don't know if you guys have seen the last couple of commercials that we just came out with. You should definitely check out the World Cup ad that came out last week. It's actually it's stunning, and it's like very, very inspiring. And we also did that ad. And it's this crazy thing that's happening at RGA because we were an interactive agency over the last 10 years. We've really been able to span like product development with. It's very unusual that the same company that does product development and service development and the app development is also doing the advertising, and so it's fun to be part of that. So the other thing that we're doing, last year we launched an Accelerator and Ventures group, sort of coming on the heels of Fuel Band and some of the other work that we were doing, and our kind of excitement about what we see as this kind of convergence of hardware and software, and what people call Internet of Things or connected devices. So we also were in a position where we saw that a lot of like a company like what Nike needs to do is actually partner with other tech companies and other companies to kind of create these ecosystems. It became incredibly important for big companies that want to remain relevant and resonate to actually have this many different touch points through partnering with startups. And also because we're working with mid-stage companies like Beats by Dre and MakerBot, who we're seeing are on these very, very rapid growth paths. We want to participate in the upside for those kinds of relationships. So we launched RGA Ventures, essentially a vehicle. We don't take outside funding, but it's a vehicle that allows us to kind of structure more innovative financing deals with our clients, essentially. And then RGA Accelerator. I'll show you. This is the launch video that we did last
year
for our Accelerator.
Extending beyond screens into devices, objects, and hardware. RGA is happy to announce the Connected Devices Accelerator, powered by Techstars. The first ever accelerator program to bring together world-class design and marketing services to help startups build a brand, not just a product.
Techstars is excited to be partnering with RGA on this accelerator. We believe that RGA's world-class expertise in design, branding, technology, and marketing can help startups succeed and also create opportunities for them to work with RGA's amazing roster of clients. The 10 startups will also have access to Techstars' proven mentor-driven methodology, and it works. Techstars companies have raised hundreds of millions of dollars in venture capital.
As an agency with over 200 developers and 300 designers, RGA has a long history of making things for some of the world's largest brands. Now, we want to work with you.
We're looking for companies that want to make things that are used and loved by many people and believe that great solutions come from combining hardware, data, digital services, and innovative design. The startups accepted into the program will be housed on RGA's campus in New York City for 3 months. They will benefit from the full range of RGA services and expertise, and they will also have access to top mentors from VC firms, successful founders, and major RGA clients. Each startup will also be eligible for $120,000 in funding. For more information, go to rgaaccelerator.com. Don't hesitate. Apply today and give your startup the opportunity to create the world's next must-have connected device.
So yeah, I hope you guys don't feel like that's it sounds a little fluffy when I watch it now. I don't want you guys to think that I'm sort of pushing our accelerator. It's part of what I'm showing is also this is RGA also branding itself, right? So that was the video that we used to recruit companies last year. We launched it last summer. We're about to launch another program. I think we're going to announce it in a couple of weeks. And again, we're going to focus on connected devices and sort of in Internet of Things. I think we're interested in going a little bit broader this time around so that we can bring in some more enterprise and industrial sort of Internet of Things products. There's a few things that we do a little differently. We take a portfolio approach to the companies that we bring in, so we don't focus on a particular vertical. In fact, we try to cover a variety of verticals. So we were able to cover energy, retail, fashion, home, sport, finance, wellness, healthcare, agriculture, and parenting with the companies that we brought in last year. I'll tell you about a couple of the companies that we brought in and helped grow last year. So part of the program was that we brought in our clients as mentors, and they were able to work closely with the startups. In some cases, they were able to do pilots. So startups that were kind of establishing their technology or their product were able to actually, go to a Nike or an Equinox and pilot the service. When we worked with the startups, we actually gave them a kind of a budget of hours that we'd actually work with them: visual design, copywriting, software development, and for startups that are 3 or 4 guys or people, they can't hire a very, very senior UX designer or a very, very senior iOS developer and Android developer and mechanical engineer and firmware engineer, embedded software engineer. So they need this kind of breadth that we can provide them. Okay, so one of the companies that we worked with is called Hammerhead. This is just an example of where what we think is interesting and exciting in the connected devices space. These guys. They create a navigation device that goes on your bike. The insight is that smartphones are great for mapping and navigation, but it doesn't work on a bike. You can't stop, and actually a lot of people here do ride bikes. So this product is like, okay, so while you're riding, it basically communicates, left turn, right turn, so you don't have to be distracted by your phone. It's connected to your phone, and you basically, type in where you want to go, and Bluetooth sends it to the device. You're on your way, and put your phone away, and and you just look at the device. You can see it without actually looking at it. There's another company called Keen Home. They do connected air vents. So basically, the inside is like you have it's like a smart home play where you have rooms of different sizes, used at different times. Contextually can push more or less air into the room based on how you have it configured. It's a pretty cool product that I think you guys have a similar situation here with air vents, but there's a whole bunch of retrofits that will happen in this space, and these guys are in a really good spot. We also worked with a company called Owlet that does a connected baby sock that monitors pulse oximetry for babies, so that you can see how much oxygen, how much blood pressure, breathing, and how whether the baby is safe for infants. There's another company called Grove Labs, which does a connected sort of horticulture, indoor gardening, indoor horticulture, and they sort of pivoted during the program, and they initially were going to do these kind of greenhouse kind of operating system for greenhouses, and they were like wanted to do some pilots like in Dubai and places where you have food distribution challenges. They pivoted based on the advice they got from some of their investors, and they went really focused on this idea of like the appliance of the future, where you would actually have like a refrigerator-sized garden in your home, and their vision is like in the future, every home will have a kind of a connected horticulture system, and they also are doing very well. So the last company I'll talk about is a company called Enertive that is it's sort of like Nest for commercial buildings, kind of. It does circuit level energy monitoring. So basically you plug it into a building and it tracks all the electrical usage going through each circuit, saves the data out to the cloud, does a bunch of analytics, predictive analytics, and gives you this dashboard so you can see what's going on in your buildings. Particularly good for like large buildings, universities, municipal buildings. The companies did well. Let's see, there's there's a sixth one that also just got funded. So Enertive got $750,000, Footmark's $1.2 million, Keen $1.3 million, Hammerhead a little over $1 million, and Grove, actually, the connected garden guys, I think there was a Google Ventures guys that got interested in them, and they got over $2 million. Their product is also much more capital intensive. So this is our first class, and we feel like very, very successful for the companies. It was also successful for us. One of the things we wanted to do is establish our own credibility in this kind of Internet of Things space where we think things are going. And somehow we were put on a list with like Nest and Philips and Quirky and Jawbone as one of the world's top most innovative companies in the Internet of Things. So we're really proud of that. That was something that I worked hard to sort of make that happen, and that turned out really well. We're doing another program, again, announcing in a couple of weeks, and that will be, that'll be the class of 2015. So the class will start in October and finish up around the beginning of 2015. So that's it. Thank you. I don't know if there's questions or if we're just going right into Neil or who, or I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Maybe.
Thank you, guys.
You want to ask something? Nope. Okay, so thank you very much. Big applause again.